Hi, I'm Anna, and welcome to Anna Writes Fantasy, where I do all things writing related. And here are 10 things I won't be doing as a fantasy writer. Number one, I won't use AI. And as a creative writer, I don't think I need to explain to anyone why I won't be using AI for my writing. And if you're someone who uses AI, good for you. And when I say AI, I'm mainly talking about gener- generative AI, which is the one that you put your idea into it and it pumps out ideas back to you. Now, if you've been following AI, they're using actual writers' work to train their AI system. So when you create a book using AI and you think that it is 100% your work, it is not. And by using AI for your writing or by putting your writing in AI, you're also training AI with your own work. Now, I will not be using AI. If you use AI for your writing, this is not somewhere where I'm judging you because, as I stated, and as it will be said in the title, these are just 10 things I won't be doing as a fantasy writer. What you do is your business. Number two, as a writer, I will not pretend or ever pretend that I know everything. Now, as a child, while I was going to school, I had this philosophy where you learn something new every day. And if I pretend that I know everything, there will be no room left for me to learn new things. And that's just my personal belief. That one is very self explanatory. So we're going to move on to the next one. Number three, this is in direct correlation to number two, and I will never assume that I know nothing. Now, I know there's this saying where you're not supposed to be braggy or boastful or whatever, but if there's one area that you know a lot about, like some people are very good with computers. Like, I wouldn't say I'm the best at crocheting, but I know a lot about crocheting as a crocheter. I've been doing it now for 5 years as an adult. So, never go in thinking that you don't know anything. And by not assuming that I know nothing, I also do not come in contact or have not really experienced um, imposter syndrome a lot because I'm always in the mindset that there is at least one thing I know how to do. Number four. Now, there's this popular saying that no man is an island, no man stands alone. And with that mindset, I will never be afraid to ask for help. Now, remember, you don't know everything and never assume that you know nothing. And when you don't know everything, at some point you're going to need help, whether help can be a Google search, help can be going to a library and sourcing something, help can be reaching out to writer friends, help can be your mom. Like sometimes when I'm troubleshooting like ideas for my story, I'll ask my mom what she thinks about something because she is a writer too. And I think that I get like as a kid, she really encouraged me and my brother to write a lot. So as a kid, I wrote poems, I wrote songs, and now I write stories. I've always written stories, but now I'm focused more on writing stories. So never be afraid to ask for help because help come to those who are in need, help come to those who basically seek it out or whatever the saying. Like for some reason the saying is not in on the top of my brain and which goes to show that we never know everything. And sometimes we know something and we don't remember it and that's fine. Number five, as a human being, I will never act like a robot. And what this means is don't set unrealistic deadlines for yourself because then you get overworked. And if you're overworked, you're exhausted. So some people can work with like 4 hours sleep. Some people can't. Like personally, when I don't get enough sleep, as someone who travels, who has really bad migraines, I get really bad migraines. And so it's good sometimes to remember that we're human beings and we need to unwind. Unwinding for me is like watching my favorite TV show, sometimes chilling with my favorite book, or sometimes just crocheting something new. So it's okay to like take days or weeks. I took months from writing and basically reset because you are not a robot. You are a human being who you need a lot of things to sustain you. And I get that passion, I get that drive, and you want to get this book done. And setting unrealistic expectation is only going to lead to burnout. And I don't know about you, but I don't do my best work when I'm burnt out. Number 6, I will never rush the process. Writing is a journey, and you'll not get there in the blink of an eye. And like they say, Rome wasn't built in a day. And this all leads back to AI, because if you use AI to write, it is cutting the process, the writing journey, the writing process that you're supposed to go on. It is a journey. By writing multiple stories, like when I just started, like stories that I've written like at 15, now that I'm 27 and I look back at those stories, I'm really embarrassed. And I've come a long way because I've been writing stories for as long as I can remember. The earliest time I recall writing a story was like when I was 5. So I've been writing stories, songs, poems for 22 years. And there's a lot that I've learned over 2 decades. So remember, it is a process. Do not try to rush it. It's never easy to take the shortcuts in life. That's basically what I'm saying. So as a writer, I will not be trying to rush the process now. Sometimes I know I'll try to finish a book in 6 months. And sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. And when you finish a book in 6 months, you're just talking about the first draft. It's okay to write a book for 10 years. It's okay. Don't rush the process, or I won't rush the process. This is basically for me, like, but if it helps you, it helps you. Number 7, I will never stay in my comfort zone. And what I mean by this is I don't have any expertise in like sword fight. And there's some scenes in my book that might require swords fight. Now, if I was to stay in my comfort zone, I would find a way to eliminate sword fights in my book by, coming up with another scene. But that all ties back into you don't know everything, and it's okay not to know everything. Sometimes it's okay to think outside the box, go outside the box, go outside, touch some grass, let the sun hit your face. It's okay, let the wind go through your hair. It's okay. It is okay to just go out of your comfort zone. Like I'm a winter person. I like to go on hikes, and I could write a good winter scene. I've never been skiing, and if I was to write a book that involves skiing, which I write fantasy, I don't know how skiing would come into a fantasy book, but if you know, tell me. But it's sometimes we need to remember that writing is about being creative. And as much as how it is good to stick to stuff that are realistic, there's some times when I tell my mom stuff that I've made up. Like in the book that I've Project Downfall, if you haven't been here long enough, there's a book that I was writing, and in that book I created an entire religion. Maybe it's because I'm a spiritual person, but I created an entire religion, and they had rules and they had stuff that they believe, and it's stuff that wouldn't make sense in the outside world, but it's stuff that makes sense in my world. And in writing, I try not to I try to stay away from religion because I don't want my books to come off as fundamentals. And then I realized that I'm writing these books for other people and also for me. And a main recurring theme that I noticed that are always in my book are the books that I've written. I tend to have some level of spirituality or religion linked to it. And now I'm not the most religious person, so sometimes I'll research because I don't want to ever try to steal someone else's religion. And so, like I say, don't stay in your comfort zone. Research, look up stuff, and it all comes back to ask for help if you need help. All right? Okay, this is for me, so I have to tell myself, all right. Number 8, I will never accept defeat. Now, imposter syndrome is something that is completely real. And although I've never experienced it myself, if I do, with all the things I've listed above, I will use that as my guide to basically not let it defeat me. And sometimes we have times because I get really sick sometimes because I have really bad migraines, I have asthma, and I have a bunch of other health stuff going on. And sometimes those things get in the way of the things that we want to accomplish. And it's okay to take a day or two, just don't take forever. I think I said that perfectly. Unscripted. Number 9. As a fantasy writer, I want to practice the art of not lingering and moving on. And the reason why I say this, sometimes it's okay to take a step back from your stories, put them aside and work on something else, which is exactly what I'm doing right now. And I'm taking a step back from Project Downfall because what I need to write in order to make Project Downfall the story that I want it to be, I'm currently not in that mindset. And writing Project Downfall creatively is taking a lot of mental capacity because I'm in Project Downfall. It is a high fantasy, which means I'm creating a completely different world. I'm not drawing upon anything from the real world. And if any of you've ever tried to create a high fantasy book, it takes a lot. And I'm an overthinker, so I'll be um, like in that world, the witches wear different clothing than everyone else. And they're like 5 societies based on race, which is werewolf, witches, dragon shifters, vampires, and humans. And all of those, they dress differently. And over the years, a lot of things has changed because this world has peace. And then I have to create what was the cause of the war, why are they at peace? And mentally, it was putting a strain on me. And so I'm taking a step back from that. And although if you've watched my world building, you know I built everything for that world. But the more you write, the more you have more questions that need to answer. And I wasn't necessarily in the mental space to answer all those questions. So, like I say, I'm practicing not to linger. That story is wonderful. That's something that I've been thinking about since 2019, that story. And I'm glad that I've gotten to the stage where I have plotted all 45 chapters of it. I've done so much world building that you could interview me about that world and I could answer questions off the bat. But mentally, it was putting a strain on me. And so I'm taking a break from that. Number 10, I will never think it's okay to just live within my writing. And while it's okay to be a writer, and I know there are days when all I want to do is wake up. I don't even want to bathe. I just want to write, write, write. I don't even want to eat breakfast. I just want to write. And there's more to life than writing. And I just want to remind myself that some days I'm not a robot. So it's okay to take a day or two from writing. You know, um, it's okay to be a writer, but just remember it's not who you are, even though it is. I don't want writer to become my entire personality. You know, those people who, when they're asked something about themselves, they'll say their last name. The best example I have is like whenever I think of the Kardashians, I see them as a name. And I'm not saying that I don't see them as a person, I do. But you know those people, I'm probably not explaining this the best way, but you know, there's some people who like they'll say, "Oh, I'm a dad," and there's nothing wrong with being a dad because I'm a mom. But I just don't want that to be my entire. Like, I'll never say to anyone that I'm a daughter. I'll never introduce myself to anyone as I'm a daughter. It's not my personality. Just like it's just like doctors. I'm glad they, you know, it's good that you have your degree, you work hard for it, but it's the way how some of them, it's kind of like braggy where their entire personality is their career. And I don't ever want to be that person. Yes, if someone asks me about my write, I will always be proud to say I write novels, but I never wanted to become who I am because I'm more than a writer. I read, I crochet. Now, if I'm just gonna fall deep into my writing and start letting it become who I am. It's also doing my other hobbies a disservice because I think my books, because I'm currently videoing and staring at my bookshelf, I think they're going to feel left out. So we're at the end of today's video. Let me know in the comment section below, what are a few things that you will never, or a few things that you want to remind yourself not to do as a writer? And I know I said fantasy writer because that's what I write, but if you write thriller, romance, or any other genre that I haven't mentioned, I'll still love to hear from you. And I think we're at the end. So thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful year, month, week, day, hour, minute, second. I'll see you in another video. Bye.